Don't forget the jumper that you wear. Don't forget what this day means.
While the day is so much about the past, it was a brave new world for the AFL as footy came to Wellington. The first game on foreign soil for points, and it all took place on a special day for Australia and New Zealand. Justin Kosicki had the honour of kicking the first goal on foreign soil. There was some confusion early for the locals to try and get a handle on. But there was no doubt about the Swans' desperation and the ability of Nick Riewoldt under pressure. Early in the second in the tight game, the Saints got going. Montagna putting it through, and maybe it would be a difference in Kilda today, but Jude Bolton was able to answer, and into the third, Sydney looked the goods at the start of the quarter as Adam put one through from just inside 50. And the brilliance of Melcheski and McGlynn gave them another. But just when it appeared that they were going to run away, the Saints were able to edge back. And if they can kick a couple early in the last, maybe there's still a chance. It's a full moon. It's footy in Wellington. It's Sydney by 25 points. Barry Hall and then Danny Frawley and Gerard Healy. Baz?
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. Well, after last week's performance against Geelong, I suspected that Sydney would come out and probably overemphasise their defensive side of the game, and they've certainly done that. They've choked this game up. It's been played on their terms. They're getting everything they want at the moment, the Swans. I think their midfield's been fantastic. Stoppages have been great. All their key movers, Kennedy, McGlynn, Hanbury's had a real impact. Their ruckmen have been fantastic. That's where they're winning and losing the game at the moment. The Swans are right on. There has been a sub made, as we spoke about before. Lewis Jetta has come on, so he'll give them the leg speed they need in this final quarter.
Spot on, Barry. Anders Everett there. Everett. He's been subbed off, and I think it's a class factor there, Gerard. The fact that you got Seb Ross, Tom Lee, Brodie Murdoch, Nathan Wright, and Josh Saunders.
Yep.
They've played, a couple of debuts tonight, 1 and 2 games between them. It's just the extra class around the stoppages.
Yeah, the demographic certainly favours the Swans. But that said, Spud, a couple of quick goals. Anything can happen in footy, as we know, but they're going to need to win a lot of these clearances and get some easy, cheap ones.
Wayward boot or two in there. Actually, the Saints get it to half forward through Geary.
Good chicken wing tackle, took him down.
And another fearsome effort from Riewoldt. Grundy, pretty high fend off. O'Keefe, got upended. Feel a collective groan around the stadium.
Yeah, St Kilda just need to attack the goal square. I like the fact that Cossie's staying really deep on Teddy Richards in the goal square, so really create some goals. You don't have to kick them yourself. You see a bit of a void there.
Montagna just scooting through. Bird, O'Keefe, smother again, keeps it in the tight spot, and that's out on the full. The reward there.
Yep, from Nick Del Santo. Needs to find a target.
McAvoy gives him a 30-metre option. Got grander plans than that. Saad, perhaps. Saad can't get it to...
And the ball generally bounces in a straight line into these slippery conditions.
Don't mind them just kicking long to a contest, though. They've really got to take the game on, the Saints. You would think they've got to kick at least 5 goals, 6 goals to win this game of football.
Interesting that Mike Pike, the preferred ruckman again to start the quarter for the Swans. Here's Jetta. Great to see him out there, coming on as the sub.
50 minutes, you can't cut in.
And he would be just wanting to explode here, Lewis Jetta, one of the great stars of 2012.
He wasn't waiting for anybody. Low ball into the 50. He didn't really have anyone's name on it, but Kennedy made it his own.
His output's dropped off significantly at the start of this season. He averaged 16 disposals a game last year compared to 10 so far this year.
Yeah, he just hasn't been hitting the scoreboard. He hasn't been winning ball. He hasn't been creating any goal-scoring opportunities or kicking them himself. Just 2 goals. I think this time last year he had 11.
Mike Pike's only taken the mark. He's just about knocked out Cossie again. And there's Pike's kick up to half forward. Gilbert.
Good body work.
That's good body work. Be interesting with Sam Reid, Barry. That's far too easy. You picked up on it early. He's just not fighting enough for for that contest.
Yeah, if you want to be a key forward, that's an area you really got to work on, the one-on-one bodies. And no disrespect to Sam Gilbert, but he's not a key defender. He really isn't. So he should be winning those contests every day of the week.
I think one of the problems he's got is he didn't anticipate the contact.
Here's some options. Armitage, Sard. If it just sits up, it might have its own map to goal, but it's Rampy that's able to get back there with that desperate lunge.
It's been a good find, Rampy.
He has.
Here's Cozzy. Any arrest?
He'll be a bit sore after copying it from Mike Pike. Back to the wing. The Saints had the best position there. Murdoch didn't mark it. Gilbert didn't quite hit a target.
A lot of the Swans were deep.
Oh, Ross had no idea, blissfully unaware that Reed was coming. It was very nearly in the back, but
It's just interesting with the Swans how they're guarding the space in the defence, but they're opening up the corridor for St Kilda at the moment.
Melcheski powers the kick up to half forward, away from O'Keefe. Gilbert again.
Great tackle, McLean.
He wasn't going to let go. Ben McLean. Reed shapes the kick for Goods. Parker waiting down. Goods, was he held? Parker. He's having a night out. Luke Parker. Can do no wrong. Kicks his second and the Swans lead now out to 29 points.
This is a great performance. Goods does well, read it really well, got the ball forward, then shepherded. Unfortunately, another player going to ground. That time it was Reece Stanley, and in that position, him going to ground here cost the goal. He didn't have to go to ground, but when he did, there was no one there to take the ball across the line.
And also Sean Dempster, he's just out of form at the moment a little bit. He's been injured, so he'd normally cluck those marks.
Cozzy after this. No wonder he wasn't feeling so good. As they rip into it again, McAvoy. Bird. Cheddar.
Oh, he looks like he's rearing to go.
He's bursting, isn't he? To half forward.
I think he might have got a burst during the week.
We'll hear from the coach actually if we get an opportunity about Lewis Cheddar. There's a free kick now. And the game's on the line for the Saints. Ross.
This bloke has been fantastic all night.
Where to next? Murdoch half calling for it. Instead he went for Sard and it's got there.
Yeah, Nick Rewalt, it's been an amazing game of football in slippery conditions. 11 marks, 12 contested possessions, 24 disposals, 2 goals, 1. It's been his work rate.
This is the longest run-up I've ever seen in football. He is now at the centre.
Yeah. And I think he's going to take longer than the 20 seconds too, Hutto.
That's a 35-metre run-up.
It'll take him a minute to walk there.
Yep.
There he is. The centre of the ground.
It is ridiculous, isn't it, really? I mean, each to their own, but that is just absurd. He's so far back. Well, he's almost further back than it is the distance he's got to kick the ball for goal. And the march begins. Left, right. And it's such a critical kick, and the crowd know it.
That's surely 20 seconds now.
Talk about put pressure on yourself. And now it's on its way. He just has to kick the goal. If buts and maybes.
Well, they're big build-ups. His shots at goal.
Yeah. He needs his own marching band, really, doesn't he?
He'll get his own rule.
Well, he almost has, in a way. I mean,
it was brought in from, Matty Lloyd, a few of the forwards initially.
Good mark.
Good contested mark.
O'Keefe.
I saw Ryan O'Keefe in the street today, and I was thinking just about the career he has built. It's been a stellar career, Spud. He's won just about every award there is to win for the Swans. Thought about coming home at one stage, it didn't happen. Went back, played in the Premiership, picked up Norm Smith medal.
261 games, and he was I think he was a mid-50 draft pick in 1999.
It's been an interesting transition too. Started off as a half forward, then became the first running high half forward, played basically half as a midfield, then he became a full-time midfielder, and he's been a jet at the wall.
Wright was able to get away with one there. And maybe the Saints can too. Bursting Jones, he's all heart, but he had nowhere to kick to. And it went in between. Oh, they made a mess of it, the Swans, but Rampy was able to escape.
She's
to
a
half
solid
forward.
Rampy under pressure. Unfortunately, the kick has rebounded through McVeigh's hand, so he'll be back under pressure.
But he does show great poise, doesn't he?
He's good.
For a young defender.
Off through the legs.
He's on fire.
And the ball over the line out of bounds. Let's have a listen to what John Longmire said about Lewis Jetta and the reason he's the sub.
Well, he's been a little bit quieter over the last month, but we think that may help him hopefully get into a bit of form as well. So if he comes on a bit later in the game and gives us that really run and dash, we want him back. We know he's a really important player for us, and we want him back in the best form he can possibly be in.
Tanya to half forward, Revolt.
Beautiful use of the body there.
No height ahead at all. So he's picked that apart well. Centred it for Geary, who gives it plenty. He's given them some dash off half back, and now he's given them a goal.
Just get the ball in the hands of Nick Rewalt. He can do no wrong tonight. That was a really good gut running up the ground and push back. Have a look at this. Looked inside to Geary, and that was the option. That was the only free option on the ground. Tony Armstrong there probably could have just held the mark a little bit better, just overplayed it somewhat to allow Geary to play on. So just had to man the mark there. But it was a very good goal. They just need back-to-back goals now, St Kilda. Centre clearance crucial.
22 points the margin here in Wellington.
They get the next one.
Yep.
There'll be a bit of nerves for the Swans.
We spoke about Gary. He's one of the most underrated players and most improved players in the AFL at the moment for me.
He's playing well tonight.
Mumford, but Hayes stole the march. Off the left, Revolt again, looming large. He almost did mark it. Ted Richards gallops away, kicks out to the wing. Coming up to meet it though is right. And the Saints know they need urgency.
There's great defence from right as well.
And smother on Dennis Lane from McVeigh. Chance for redemption with the second kick. No height there. In fact, no one there at all to take a mark.
Danger.
Got numbers here, the Saints.
Jack Stephen working the angles out in his head. And he got it just right.
They're back the Saints. Back-to-back goals within a minute. Get the ball inside the forward 50. They're doing all the attacking now. Super kick from Jack Stevens. Just a fumble there from Nick Smith. But have a look at this under pressure. That's a classic half-forward opportunist goal.
Yes.
Magnificent goal there from Jack Stevens. He had the 20 disposals, 11 contested possessions, working really hard. Much needed goal for the Saints. And they've got the supporters here, the Saints, so they've got them up on their seats.
That's really energised the Saints and their fans. So many of them have come, made the trip, here to watch history in the making. And really only a win will be satisfying for them, and maybe they can get a surge on here. They've kicked a couple of goals. Armitage sends them forward again as the pressure mounts on this Sydney defence.
Well, they're winning all the clearances at the start of this quarter, 4-1. And starting out of the middle. But the 7 inside 50s for 2 goals, 3. So they're generating some opportunities, the Saints.
Well, Mattner waded into that and
Just let it go. That was a throw.
nearly have been penalised. Clint Jones again. Well, it should be a Sydney mark, and it is.
Beautiful use of the body there of Ted Richards on Trent Dennis Lane.
Because he had an uncomfortable moment waiting for it, Rampy.
Here's Jetta.
Versus Murdoch. Bit of a test for Murdoch. Look at Jetta. He runs rings around them that time. Kicks it high to the wing. Goods and Fisher. Fisher takes it. They're impassable at the moment, the Saints half-back line.
They're putting a lot of ball pressure on the ball carrier now, the Saints. The high ball coming into Sydney's forward half is really suiting Sam Fisher and Dempster.
Game just opening up a little bit. Some very tight boys out there. And a fumble from Stanley. We've seen a lot of it tonight, obviously, in the greasy conditions. Del Santo to the wing. Jude Bolton, sure hands again.
Experience. He'll just try and take the juice out of the game a little bit and hit an uncontested mark if he can.
Oh. Little donkey kick there and got a little rod.
Good. Sees the kick up. Parker. just had some correspondence, but suggesting that you did a cartwheel after kicking a goal in a pre-season game in New Zealand.
Yes, it was an exhibition game and we're 6 goals up at that stage, Hutto.
So you thought you put on an exhibition?
No, we got beat by 7 after that.
Bird, tense moments for the Swans. And it goes over the line and out of bounds.
He's a really handy player, Craig Bird. So important last year. And again, he comes in, he's doing a job. You would hate for him to stand by you before the opening bounce. 86% has been the kicking efficiency.
Gee, just handed that off. That could well have been deemed a throw.
The thing with Craig Bird, he's playing on Del Santo. Del Santo's had 17 disposals, but he's going 42% by foot.
Yeah.
Now Jones quickly trying to sum things up the ground. He's tried to buy some time with a high kick, and Revolt hopelessly outnumbered really there, the Saints. If he can force a 50-50, he will have done well. Stephen, gee, they're on the back foot here, the Swans. This is good stuff from the Saints. To half forward, Hanbury stays down. It was smart play. He got some assistance too from Kennedy into the space. Oh, umpire takes it off.
Quick here, the Saints. They can't go backwards.
We've got Fisher on the break.
Gilbert needs sure ball handling. Del Santo, they've gone very lateral there, the Saints. And then a big torpy up the wing. Tough facade. Pretty easy, really, for the Sydney defence to take it out.
Good numbers there from Sydney at that really dangerous stoppage, or where the ball was about to bounce. There's the push out. Again, Spud, free kick.
Line ball for mine. I thought it was hands in the back, but he used his forehand there, Sean.
Still can't push that.
No, you're right.
Rampy. Surrounded by Saints. That was, again, interesting disposal. Bird back to the wing. Reed. And it's over the line. We're at the halfway point now of this final turn.
That was an outstanding handball there from Dane Rampy under pressure. It shows a lot of poise.
Pike tries to give them first use. But it's all St Kilda at the moment from these stoppages. It's out of bounds.
Yeah, 6-3, St Kilda's favour. They're pressing the Saints. Pretty open stoppage here.
McAvoy got the front position. Jack. Saunders got the inside-out torpedo. Nick Revolt has had to contend with a minimum of 2 players every time he's going for the ball at the moment. They know that, I mean, he is their real one source of goals in this last quarter.
They're missing Josh Kennedy at the moment around the stoppages. He's played a lot of this quarter up as a forward, playing pretty deep.
And the push and the shove.
That's good play.
Put the head down. Stephen just had a moment. Well done, Saunders. Bolton left a few in his wake. Saunders again. Welcome to the big time.
Jude Bolton was like a human wrecking ball there.
He was.
He can sense the time of the game. St Kilda really pressing.
McAvoy certainly making more of a contribution as the game's gone on. Murdoch, McVeigh, Bird, Goods, trying to make the running, but it's just so difficult.
Well, it's been a hard slog all night. Unfortunately, we haven't been favoured with weather conditions here to show the best of the skills for those that are first timers at the game, but it's kept it to a pretty close tussle.
And if we do happen to get a grandstand finish, then they'll know all about it.
We've had a contest, haven't we got that? St Kilda 146 contested possessions to Sydney 42. They got smacked in the contested ball last week, St Kilda. Better effort.
Revolt desperate to find a familiar face. Oh, the squeeze is on here. 8:40 to go. Been hard to get interchange rotations happening because everyone's been around the ball and so far away from the bench.
Sydney are putting extra numbers around their stoppage, but a couple of the Saints half forwards need to go back to the goal square to open it up.
Get some space there. That time was a half chance.
Need to try and open up the space behind the ruckman here if they can, St Kilda. If you're manned up in that area, go and stand in the goal square because your defender will have to go with you.
Pike got it down for O'Keefe. And then Bird. And Jetta. And Goods. And he delayed it because he knew that Jetta was coming.
Good running
With a
from
full
Geary.
tank. He's off and running and kicking. And unfortunately, he ran out of room.
Great connection with Adam Goods.
Brilliant work.
It was brilliant.
Good, yeah. The give or the get and then the give. I reckon he had two options, and he just wanted to bring Jetta into the game.
Neither ruckman made it to that boundary throw in either. They too far to cover.
Have a look at the connection here. Adam Goods knowing that Jetta is on.
And Jude Bolton on the inside.
Pike again brings it to ground. McVeigh is going to go over the line out of bounds. Eight minutes remaining. Third man up that time was Stanley. Scooped out Montagna. Lenny Hayes waiting for it. Eventually it came his way. Del Santo needed all his nimbleness to get clear. High kick Saunders. It's Revolt versus Grundy. Oh, he didn't mark it, Grundy. Revolt just pulled up a little lame and couldn't get onto it. Now the pressure. Ramp, you'll know about it soon. This is the intensity of AFL footy, not in the back. Saints opportunity, Dennis Lane. Misfire from McGlynn. He was going to give. He does. Tries to get it to right. But again, Rampy kicks it back to the wing. Jude Bolton only knows one way. Henneberry been quiet in this quarter. Gave it up. Gilbert, can he kickstart them here? Lenny Hayes, you'll see Revolt screaming for it. Kicks it higher than that, and Stanley was down there as well. At the back, Sard, Armstrong. McGlynn.
He's still in the Saints.
Wind up again.
Just got to get the next goal. Start the next minute.
Set sail into the pocket.
That's not going to help.
A fumble. Happy though. Every time he's made a slight fumble, he's recovered so well. But it's kick to kick here.
Going to try and switch the ball if they can, St Kilda.
A different approach maybe. It's got an element of risk, but it's proved to be effective. Murdoch feeding it Dempster. Again, it's in the square. Stanley. Lenny Hayes. Montagna knows the importance of this kick and is able to deliver. Saints still alive.
Great play there from Robertson. He got his first kick, he kicked it long down the line to an outnumbered situation. Then he got the ball and tried to open it up through the middle of the ground, which then opened it up to the forward line. Lenny Hayes and Rewalt, they're nearly both those leaders for St Kilda nearly getting over the line here. Great handball from Stanley. Hayes over to Montagna. The firm. Terrific goal, terrific finish.
Magnificent.
Centre clearance has now become super crucial.
Oh, some real unease now for Sydney fans. The Saints relentless in this last quarter. Montagna, what a goal under the circumstances. Poor bounce from the umpire. O'Keefe and Sydney are inside. Reid and Gilbert tangle at half forward. 6 minutes to go. Wonder how many goals are left in this game. The Saints obviously need to kick a couple. McGlynn. And they'll go close to the line.
Well, dangerous area, yep. This will do the Sydney Swans.
Saints have done all the attacking this quarter. 15 inside, 50s to 9 for 3 goals, 3. The Swans only one major.
I think sometimes in footy you get just too far in front and all of a sudden psychologically you leave it to everyone else.
Hayes is lifted.
Sebros and McAvoy. Richards steadfast in front of Kazitsky. Winds up again. A lot of St Kilda jumpers there. Wright got the fist on it. Del Santo. Saunders, he's shown a bit. He can cover the ground. So can Wright.
Open forward line for St Kilda.
And then some of the old. Kazitsky into the 50. They are burning the Saints. Montagna's done it once. Has he got anything left to give for St Kilda? He looks around and he goes for Revolt, but
just tired legs in the end.
Yeah, Grundy was back.
Well, I think when he looked inside, Grundy was on the deck. And Grundy got himself up and took a chest mark.
Joey had to sprint 100 metres to get to the ball, and he was just, the lactic was too much to get the ball over Grundy's head in the end.
Spirited comeback. It's not over yet.
It's not over yet. The Saints, you just said, are doing all the attacking. Sydney trying to save the game.
That's downfield. Did it go? Just went inside the field of play, so it will be on that 50-metre intersection. What are you seeing there, Spud?
Well, I think it's against Joey Montagna.
I think Kaczynski came in after.
Okay.
And just cleaned him up. You see it here.
Oh, there it is. Well, this is intelligent play from Adam Goods. Just taking the juice out of the game a little bit. Getting a settler.
Just what you don't need, though. When you get all the momentum, you give away a 50-metre penalty. That is a chip kick. No one read it.
Doesn't shoot for goal.
No, he was just looking for the chip, but it was only McAvoy that read it.
Well, if you're going to chip the ball, give it some height. At least let Reid run and jump and contest on the ball.
McAvoy, he decides to have a bit of a skip and a run. Armitage from behind. Jack was very effective, not just knocking it, but to his own team's advantage. And Robertson has time to assess. He won't like what he sees ahead because there wasn't much for him.
Oh, well,
and that was great stuff from Marty Matner, doing what he does best, anticipating and cutting across.
I think he had to take the chance in Robertson to go inboard. There was actually a player on, and I know he's running away from the corridor, but Sydney were reading this one down the line far too easily.
Time starting to become the enemy now for the Saints. Grundy goes down the line, Mumford with the acrobatics.
But just going back to the Adam Goods decision, he's brought the 9-iron out and had a chip. Why didn't he go with the 4-iron and have a shot?
Exactly right.
Even at behind, would have taken him to 11 points.
Yeah.
And, maybe
You're right.
one more.
It was either the 4-iron or the sandwich with height to allow your forwards to compete and get on the end of it.
Bird.
I'll go for space here. They'll be happy if it goes out, the Swans, and they get a result.
Well, what Sydney need to do is get a couple behind the ball, especially on the switch. The open side, there's the chip kick there. Yeah, it was just a nothing kick in the end.
Mumford powered it down. McAvoy, Adam Goods. Jude Bolton, just admire the way he goes about every task. He and Lenny, two of probably the most popular players in the competition.
Stevens is a danger for mine here, Spud. He's got the pace to burst through a line. That's what they're going to need to do. Break a line, the Saints.
Third man up's really helping the Saints as well.
Just over 22,000 here in Wellington at Westpac Stadium. And they're seeing a finish that could still have a few more ups and downs. O'Keefe, Dempster on that last line. Treacherous stuff for the Saints fans. Fisher, umpire said play on. So they have to. And that was out. Well,
it was out before he kicked it.
Okay.
Good.
Great pressure there from Swans. Look at the hard
Sammy
tackle
Fisher
here.
lucky here. He might have just got a little punch on it. Yep.
2:43 on the clock. Stanley. Hanbury McAvoy battled on gamely after a slow start. Oh, Del Santo upended. And still down. Still no free kick.
Well, that's a win for the Swans. Just taking the juice out of the clock. He's really lifted this last quarter, Nick Del Santo. He wanted to lift, and he's been able to do that with 7 disposals this quarter. So Stanley was there as well, and McAvoy. So which one was the ruckman? That's the... But if McAvoy did impede his run, it's definitely a free kick.
Well, St Kilda obviously have to hope now for him to miss, and they'll get possession of the ball, the Swans.
Well, if he misses, no harm done. Yep. They get possession, it's probably a better result.
Yep.
But it's relying on a big miss, isn't it?
Pretty quick from here, though.
It's normally a reliable kick.
He's only 25 out. Been a wonderful contributor for the Swans. And that is right through. And the Sydney Swans lead by 16 now.
That's the last thing St Kilda needed was to give a free kick away in that area, and Sydney dominated the last 4 or 5 minutes to build the pressure. Let's have a look. There's McAvoy.
No, it's gone against Stanley.
Oh, it's against Stanley.
For blocking the nominated ruckman.
Yeah, well, McAvoy's the ruckman. No, it's there. The free kick's there. Yep. He's impeded his run.
It's almost unfathomable that you'd do it.
If you're going to do it, put your hands in the air, not out sideways to show the umpire.
may well not end the way that Scotty Wallace was planning this first trip away, but there is still a minute 50. They can get a goal here, who knows? They have no time to waste. Montagnier the great one early. This is going to go very wide for Kazitsky. Not quite what he was expecting, Cousin.
Well, I don't think anybody anticipated.
They haven't bounced that high all night. He's had a falcon off the ground.
He's got to be the unluckiest bloke ever to play the game, doesn't he, Cozzy? Just about. Mumford still working hard at the coalface for the Swans. There's Robertson. Fashioned a kick back. McVeigh.
Play on. Still play, mate. Get ready. Come you now.
Back to the wings. The Swans making life awfully difficult.
And
it's getting tough for now. Reid was able to dispossess Geary.
Good hands,
He showed a couple of nice little moves late in this game. He's up to 17 disposals, in fact. So there's a couple of ticks for the Saints youngsters.
Yeah, 10 of those contested, Hutto.
To
win the ball.
Adam Goods. I reckon he'd have a crack for goal now if he gets the opportunity. Kicks it quickly.
There's Nick Rewald coming up for disposal number 27, and that's his 13th mark.
Typically wholehearted performance from Nick Rewald. He knows that
good courage, Teddy.
He's going to be the mortal enemy for the Saints. The Swans are going to get there. They've had a fright or two in this last quarter. Parker, so good early, and for most of the game, in fact.
No, he has. He's been one of the few players to use the ball by foot. He's going at 80%. Both sides are going less than 60% by foot, and that's due to the pressure and the conditions. But his ball use and his ball handling are both first class.
Yours.
She's a big kick.
And Bush looking for a free. He won't get that, but he will get a victory. So history here for the Sydney Swans. They become the first team to win on international soil for premiership points. And those 4 points belong to the Swans. It was a hard battle. They really had to earn it, the Swans, and earn it they did. Footy has come to Wellington, and the Sydney Swans have prevailed 11-13-79 to 9-9-63.
A magnificent game of football for both clubs. Played in the Anzac spirit, Hutto. Contested ball, the conditions weren't great. 166 contested possessions in St Kilda. Sydney Swans 164. That's a big improvement since Kilda last week with Essendon, but I think it was the class factor and the extra numbers around the ball and the composure, Jared, under pressure was the difference in the end.
Yes, this is a win for the Swans, just doing what they've built their success on, and that is just grinding it out. Added to a little bit of class as well, but I don't think too many Saints fans would be disappointed today, Spud, with what they saw. A couple of young kids emerging, but they were magnificently led by Nick Rewald. I saw the emergence of another kid called Parker Hutto today. I think it was probably his best game for the Swans. A dominant figure. He kicked a couple of goals as well.
Let's get down to Barry Hall with Jared McVeigh.
Yeah, thanks, Hutto. It must have been pretty important for the group to get back on track after last week with a pretty hard-fought victory.
Yeah, look, we were really disappointed with the way we went about it last week, and playing Geelong in that style, really disappointed. And come out tonight with a good win was what we wanted.
And it's been a big week for you. You come out Monday. Anzac Day obviously holds a great amount of significance for everyone. But to come to New Zealand, your wife's New Zealander, must have been pretty special for the boys.
Yeah, it's good to have the family down here. But to play on this day, we really respect what those guys have done for us. And to play a little part here tonight was a special thing for both teams.
And young Rampy down back, he's been pretty impressive for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. With Alex Johnson going down, we need another guy coming through. And he's only played a couple of games now, but he's really fitted in well.
Well, well done tonight and enjoy.
Thanks, mate.
They're the right team to be playing on Anzac Day, aren't they, really, when you think about it, the Swans, the way they approach the footy. And Jared McVeigh's been a terrific leader. They've won by 16 points.
He's been their best player all year, Jared McVeigh. And I agree with Barry Hall. Dane Rampy, they've found another one, the Swans. He's a New South Wales prodigy. He's 22. A lot of poise under pressure in that last quarter. Some of his disposal under real heat. You'd think that'd be a player that's played 100 games. He's playing his third game of league football.
Yeah, there he is. Most impressive. under the heat of the battle that was there today. He really did stand up, and it's not just the first time. He's earned his spot early in the year, and he's maintained his position. And as Jared said, with Johnson going down with that season-long knee injury, and at the moment Reece Shaw out of the side, he's been a really important find for them.
And you can see St Kilda really built themselves up too. They put a lot of work and effort. I think St Kilda need to be congratulated, Hutto, this has been a plan for 18 months to come over to Wellington. A lot of people have turned up. It's been an outstanding promotion of our game of AFL football.
The only unfortunate part was that the conditions were a little bit greasy, which we didn't get to see the full array of skills, but it has been a terrific occasion, and some official presentations. The Simpson Henderson Trophy will be presented to the Sydney Swans very shortly, so everyone waiting on.
And the Anzac Day medalist as well.
Yes, which will be interesting.
You would think Nick Riewoldt would be a chance. Hadamry, McVeigh.
Let's join Craig Willis.
Gentlemen, wonderful turnout here at Westpac Stadium in Wellington for this inaugural match played for championship points in the Australian rules game. A wonderful game of AFL in the 2013 Toyota AFL Premiership season. Let's collectively thank both sides for putting on a wonderful display of Australian rules football. And I'd like to invite the St Kilda captain, Nick Riewoldt, to come forth and say a few words.
Firstly, thank you to the magnificent crowd that turned out tonight. Wonderful achievement to get so many numbers here, and we'll be back again. So we hope you enjoyed the show. To both football clubs and the Swans, we really respect you guys, and to all the service men and women from Australia and New Zealand, past and present. We thank you for your service. It was a real honour to come out and represent you on this wonderful occasion. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. I'd now like to welcome the President of the Royal New Zealand Return and Services Association, Lieutenant General Don McIver, CMG, OBE, to present the Anzac Day medal to the player whose conduct and play during the game best exemplified the Anzac spirit, that of skill, courage in adversity, self-sacrifice, teamwork and fair play. And the winner of the Anzac Day medal is Dan Hanbury.
First, I'd just like to thank St Kilda. We respect the way you guys go about it. You've been a super side for a number of years. It was a tough battle tonight. Good luck for the rest of the year. To our guys, we need to keep going. Disappointing last week. Good to get on the winners board again tonight. To our fans, thanks for coming out tonight, all the fans for that matter. Super spectacle, and let's keep going for the rest of the year.
Well done, Dan. I'd now like to invite Kieran Jack, co-captain of the Sydney Swans, and John Longmire, their coach, to receive the Anzac Day trophy from the Prime Minister of New Zealand, John Key. This is a perpetual trophy provided by the RSA in dedication to the memory of those who served in times of war.
Prime Minister. And welcome back to our rooms here in South Melbourne as we look on at the boys there in New Zealand at Westpac Stadium, in fact, at Wellington. Well, a good win there by the Swannies in the end. 16-point win, gents. Welcome back, Cam Mooney, David Parkin and Antonio Shaw. 16-point win, though, at the end. Was that about the right margin? Could they be proud of their efforts, the Saints?
I thought they were great.
Absolutely.
All the stats, I think you just had a look at them, Dave, the stats that are our recipe for success. They won 2 out of the 3.
Absolutely, and did well enough to suggest that the people who went might think this is an okay game. I think it was played in difficult conditions, but the pressure was on from go to woe. I reckon it was a great contest.
Got some young players there. Is that a danger now that they've got a lot of young players in that team? And as you said, they might be able to think, we've done all right. Is that a danger to them?
Well, it all comes down to the coaching in the end, doesn't it? I mean, how they review it, how they talk about it. But you're right. I mean, we talk about St Kilda. They've got that really top age echelon of players, superstar players for their football club, and then they've just got their young kids. They've just got that nothing in between. And unfortunately for Saints supporters, you're just going to have to wait another 2-3 seasons to get games under these kids' belts.
So our first eight players, I reckon their best 8 players were all the classic names of St Kilda.
Yeah, and we saw some Montagne's goal at the end and was super wonderful as well. Let's have a look at some of the game highlights, and we'll go have a look at, well, this is the stadium at Westpac Stadium, Wellington. Let's have a look at the action now. And Teddy Richards sneaks down off the half-back back line. And Revolt's already ahead of the ball, and there's Teddy sitting out the back, and one from the 50-metre line where he launched from, and he got the first one, and then he, as you called it,
was happy with
got a little ahead of himself.
Oh, look at his positioning in front of Nick Rewald there. He got mixed in, and that was 15 seconds after he kicked the last goal.
He was off to go get another one.
He was pushing forward for another one. This is the Revolt again. This time Grundy's responsible for it. Gee, he looks slow pulling back to him, Grundy.
Well, there were 5 of them. Any one of the 5 had a responsibility to go and make a contest. They all stood and looked.
The kick was a nice dart, though. It just dropped right in the middle there. Jude Bolton gets on the end of one here. He just...
amazing.
He was never quick, but he slowed up from what he was. He was never great agility, but he just keeps finding the ball and ploughing on. Here's Malcheski, hacks one out of the air, and Benny McGlynn gets on the end of it. That was a pretty valuable goal when it all worked out. And finally we get Big Pikey, and we got time for this one. And field of vision wasn't great at that stage, and that cost him a few minutes on the bench.
Yes,
and those sideboards, what do we do with that in the Mo, Doom? Mate, you've got to ban that.
I'm telling you, last time I saw that, there was a bloke in a leather cap and a leather jacket, and he was playing with the village people. I'm not willing to say that to Big Mummy's face. He's a nice bloke, isn't he, Moons?
One of the great men of all time, Big Mummy.
All right, yeah, clean up your act. Okay. All right, let's have a look there at the disposals below the score. 16-point win, as I say, to the Saints. Hanbury 30 possessions, Parker and Kennedy 25 each, Hayes 28, Revolt 27, as you called it. The well-known names, the A-graders, the senior A-graders for Sydney come to the fore.
And they really stepped up after half-time, because I think the first probably 7 or so minutes, Sydney looked like they were just about to kick away, and it was going to be a 10-goal win. I mean, we talked about that upstairs. Yeah. The fact that they all just came in together, the older guys really stepped it up. But again, like you said, Parker, it's the older guys week in and week out, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's going to happen, I guess, with the age.
The kids at the bottom end, the immature class, it was a tough game to be a part of, to get hold of the ball, make a decision and do something good with it. Pretty tough. The inexperienced blokes hardly made any impact on the game at all.
If you're an inexperienced player, you're playing your first game, what were the conditions you wouldn't want? Wet, slippery.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was the team
Sydney.
you wouldn't want to play?
Big bodies,
Sydney. What size ground would you not want as
well?
Small. So
well, and the tackle count in the finish, 89 to 96.
Yeah.
Compare that with even the last game Sydney played against Geelong. They were down at 40. This is back up in the Sydney mode.
Closed it into the way they like it. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of the day as well. Luke Parker, once again, keeps on keeping on. You've got a big rap on this bloke.
I love this bloke. He nearly plays as a small forward a lot. He's got a lot of flexibility. He has played defence too, but he's got good hands. His vision's fantastic. He loves to kick a goal, and he's a one grabber. And in those conditions, you've got to be a one grabber because the ball slips on. But no, I think he's a very talented player. You talked about the young players in St Kilda. They've got young players at the Sydney Swans who I think their system evolves and makes them evolve a lot quicker. Just have a look. He knows what's going on. He had to look up to see whether it was on. Angled it. Yeah, he's a one-grab player, and he knows how to do this, defend too, to set up another goal for him. So, very good player.
The other thing I've noticed, you look at the body shape. Over the last 12 months, he's got this.
Yes.
Yeah, he came out, he was a reasonable-sized kid, not tall or anything like that, but strong enough for league footy. He's now got that as well.
Well, you talk about the young guys, sorry. You're right. They get these young guys who have got these big bodies and prepare them for finals football. They don't bring in these small, fleet-footed type players. They bring in the big body player because that's their game plan.
Yep. Let's have a look at the Saints, as I said, in the second half there. Okay, so we're not going to use that one. We're going to have a look at... all right, we will go and have a look at the Saints' goals in the second half because they just got a mini roll on here. They just put a couple of flutters into the Swannies there late in the game.
Well, they'd be pretty disappointed, Sydney, the way they really finished off this, wouldn't they? I mean, like I said, the start of the bit of a falcon there, which was, we heard a bit of a laugh at that one, Derm, upstairs.
Yeah, that was a reverse falcon from underneath.
But look, like we said, they started the third quarter and they really kicked away, Sydney. For them to only win by the margin that they won by, they'd be pretty disappointed the way they went about it. In the end, Sydney.
It was good to see Reece Stanley, who's done the job in defence, go and have a mobile ruckman.
Yeah.
I think he's got a couple of strings to his bow now that we thought, will he ever reach his potential? I think this year he's showing that he will, and hopefully it's going to be a great career for him.
One other can I mention, Jack Stephen looks like he's become quite a mature midfielder, does it at both ends. He's kicking goals as well. That's an absolute bonus for them.
Can play, and he gives them some pace around the pack as well.
Absolutely.
So I know we want more out of every player. The best player that's ever played, we wanted more out of them.
Right.
Just needs to find a little bit more of the footy, I would say. Just plump up the stats a little bit, but he does give them some wheels around the contest. But it was the Swans' day, or night, here for Anzac Day. They had a 16-point win, and it came out once again, that famous cheer, cheer, the red and the white.